Do y'all remember when I was talking about the Supreme Court ruling, the 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, where even Justices Alito and Thomas said that this presidency, this administration, all administrations for that matter, are required to allow people who are going to be deported to file a writ of habeas corpus. They need to be given reasonable time to be able to file it, and everybody gets to file one. And basically saying that everybody who they deported beforehand that was not given an opportunity to file a writ of habeas corpus, those people, were not given their due process rights. And I said on this show that what would happen if Donald Trump tried to claim that this was, he's already said it's an invasion, but the Constitution says that you cannot suspend the writ of habeas corpus unless it's like an invasion or rebellion or something like that. So there has to be an actual invasion going on. And I said, I believe that this administration is going to try and do that. And not only did it wasn't Roger Miller, it was the other quack that is one of his advisors, Stephen Miller or whatever. He talked about that. He spoke about that a little bit. But here is the head of the Department of Homeland Security, dog killer herself, Kristi Noem, who is testifying before the House on the budget of the Department of Homeland Security.
Consequences for breaking the law.
Thank you. Ms. Noem, are you familiar with Article 1, Section 9, Clause 2 of the Constitution that covers the suspension of the writ of habeas corpus?
Yes.
It says that the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless, when cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. Are you aware of which presidents have suspended the writ of habeas corpus?
I know that President Lincoln did.
Yeah, also Roosevelt and President Grant. You testified under oath, I believe, that the Biden administration allowed an invasion into our country. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So do you think it falls under the constitutional guidelines that I just read to you?
I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I believe...
She's not a constitutional lawyer. She's not a constitutional anything. She probably wipes her butt with the Constitution, but let's continue.
It does.
You've also witnessed that the Democrats here today and also radical activist judges are trying to halt and deny the president's agenda to carry out his constitutional duties to keep Americans safe and carry out his promise to the American people to secure the border and carry out mass deportations of those who have entered the country illegally. Knowing this, are you open and supportive of this constitutional option to suspend the writ of habeas corpus to keep Americans safe and carry out the president's agenda?
Well, this is something that's not in my purview to weigh in on. This is the president's prerogative to pursue, and he has not indicated to me that he will or will not be taking that action.
I want to thank Rogan O'Hanley for his efforts to bring this constitutional solution into the national conversation. Now I want to shift gears real quick. Ms. Noem.
All right. So somebody else, put this. That was one thing I was worried about when I was talking about. Not that I have that many people who would share it with the president or whatever. But one of the things that I was concerned about, again, was that Republicans are going to figure this out and figure out that they could try and use the Constitution to suspend the ability to file the writ of habeas corpus, and by doing so, circumvent the Supreme Court ruling requiring that people get to do it. Now, will it hold up in court? It shouldn't hold up in court. I don't think it should, but who knows with this activist conservative Supreme Court, who might very well say, this is an invasion, even though it's not. And as such, you can suspend the writ of habeas corpus, therefore you don't have to. And once you do that, how many people are going to get locked up simply because they feel like locking them up? How many people are going to get deported to the El Salvadorian concentration camp simply because Donald Trump wants to do that? Again, nobody should be surprised. If more people listen to Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, That's Right, they would know that this was a possibility, that this was an option. And I even remember, I think some of the people in the chat were like, they can't do that. That's not a thing. They wouldn't be able to do that. You have a Republican House member and Kristi Noem, the head of Department of Homeland Security, agreeing that it would be within the president's purview to do just that. I wish I was wrong about this president more often. I wish I could be bored and not have things to cover and have it be a struggle to have things to cover on this podcast. Unfortunately, folks like myself, folks like Hal Sparks, folks like Tommy, we get it right more often than not. Many other people who are creators, who are progressive, left-leaning, liberal, leftist creators here on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitch, etc., all these people are telling the world how much as we can of what this administration can possibly do and is capable of. And that's why it's important to have all hands on deck. That's why it's important to elevate every single leftist, progressive, liberal podcast that you possibly can. Share it with your friends. Because the only way we fight back is to make sure that we have people who are being heard who will warn you ahead of time, this is what they're going to do next. Because we have the playbook. Donald Trump's following the playbook of Adolf Hitler. We know what they will do next. We know. He's like, it's like, the scene from Waterboy, where, they're running all these plays and the other coach stole Coach Klein's playbook, and he's sitting there and he's seeing what plays are lining up, and they took his manhood because they have the plays and they know. We know. We should be able to stop these a-holes from doing what they're doing because we know. We've told everybody that we could, but we need more reach. Hal needs more reach. Tommy needs more reach. Brian needs more reach. Trucker John needs more reach. And I'd like to say that I need more reach as well as many others who I haven't even brought up, because there are plenty of people who deserve the support of more people in this country, because we're telling the American people what's coming next. And I wish I was wrong. I wish I was wrong more often. I wish I could say, I got that one wrong. I got that one wrong. My bad. Sorry. I was incorrect. But myself, Hal, Brian, Tommy, all the creators that y'all know and enjoy watching, we've been right many more times than we haven't been. Even when we disagree on little things, we still get it right on the main important things. So anyway, that's why we need, all hands on deck, because we need more people to be warned about what's going on, so that when it happens, they'd be like, there you go. Hal called it. Brian called it. Tommy called it. Dan called it. Trucker John called it. That's why we need to help the algorithm. That's why Al Gore needs more rhythm. Anyway, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, share, subscribe to the channel. And of course, unless you're a Nazi, have a good day.